We recently talked about the Mad King's small council, then the man who usurped his throne, Robert, and now his quote-unquote son, Joffrey. The second shortest reign ever, sitting on the Iron Throne for only 2 years, but was able to amass the largest small council ever. It was meant to only have 7 members that cover a wide variety of sovereign responsibilities. At the moment of his succession, he was lacking a lot of the key advisors. King Robert Baratheon, the man he believed to be his father, thought he left Joffrey with every slot filled, and his hand Ned to rule in his place until he was of age, usually 16. But Robert Baratheon's brothers, Renly and Stannis, had other plans. They were out of King's Landing, with no plans on serving Cersei and Jaime's sadistic bastard child, leaving the positions of Master of Laws and Master of Ships vacant, and there was no way Cersei was going to keep Ned around as Hand of the King. Varys stuck around as Master of Whispers, as well as Grandmaster Pycelle and Peter Baelish as the Master of Coin. In Ned's place, Cersei made herself her son's regent, though Tywin Lannister would be needed to actually rule as Hand of the King. One of Cersei and Joffrey's many huge blunders was dismissing Barristan as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, not realizing his worth. It didn't even really have to do with Barristan. It was just to make room for the Hound to join the Kingsguard, as per Joffrey's request, and for Jaime's promotion to Lord Commander, which gives him a seat on the Small Council. Another Lannister on the Small Council. The excuse to let him go was a man in his 60s should have never outlived the 3 kings he swore to defend. Barristan didn't take this insult well after all his years of loyal service. After being confused, Cersei told him, "You have served the realm long and faithfully, good sir, and every man and woman in the 7 kingdoms owes you thanks. Yet now I fear your service is at an end. It is the wish of king and council that you lay down your heavy burden." The Kingsguard is meant to serve for life. That's when Barry went from confused to angry, matching his new tone. "Your time is done," Cersei announced. "Joffrey requires men around him who are young and strong. They made an enemy of the most loved living hero in the realm." The realization that he may join Stannis and Renly sent panic through Joffrey's mind. Not only was he weak and nuts, but the new boy king was a coward. So he ordered to have the former Lord Commander seized and questioned, except this is Barristan Selmy we're talking about. The newest member of Joffrey's small council, Commander of the City Watch, Janos Slynt, took it upon himself to announce that he would seek the old knight out. A lot happened in that first train wreck of a court session. For killing Ned Stark's men when Ned thought Janos and Peter Baelish was on his side, Cersei felt the need to reward him. It is also the wish of His Grace that his loyal servant, Janos Slynt, Commander of the City Watch of King's Landing, be at once raised to the rank of Lord and granted the ancient seat of Harrenhal. It is moreover his command that Lord Slynt be seated immediately upon the small council to assist in the governance of the realm. So none of the official 7 titles for Janos, just an advisor as an empty gesture. Another horrible decision. Janos sucks. Don't know what kind of corrupt ladder he climbed to even become Commander of the City Watch. Janos sucks so bad that he and 3 of his men couldn't capture Barristan when confronted. An unarmed Barry killed 2 of the Gold Cloaks and got away. We find out in the second book that Cersei only decided to fire Barristan because of Varys' suggestion. Varys played the Lannisters to support his own mysterious cause. Without Joffrey's knowledge or even Robert's, Varys has been supporting a Targaryen return to the Iron Throne. Barristan only ends up with Dany because of Varys. None of this would have went down if the competent Tywin was around taking care of the daily operations at court. He was busy fighting Joffrey's war in the field. Cersei as regent and Joffrey as king would lead to the end of the Lannister dynasty. Then they doomed themselves by publicly executing Ned Stark instead of sending him to the wall, like they promised. What did they do when the Northerners and Riverlanders revolted? Call for Tywin to come and save them in King's Landing. Tywin, furious about the fool's execution of Ned Stark, sent Tyrion in his stead after recognizing his understanding of ruling and politics. "King's Landing, I am sending you to court." It was the last thing Tyrion Lannister would have anticipated. He reached for his wine, and considered for a moment as he sipped. "And what am I to do there?" "Rule," his father said. Tyrion hooted with laughter. "My sweet sister might have a word or 2 to say about that. Let her say what she likes. Her son needs to be taken in hand before he ruins us all. I blame those jackanapes on the small council, our friend Peter, the venerable Grand Maester, and that cockless wonder, Lord Varys. What sort of counsel are they giving Joffrey when he lurches from one fall to the next? Whose notion was it to make this Janos Slynt a lord? The man's father was a butcher, and they grant him Harrenhal. Harrenhal, that was the seat of kings. Not that he will ever set foot inside it, if I have a say. I am told he took a bloody spear for his sigil. A bloody cleaver would have been my choice." His father had not raised his voice yet. Tyrion could see the anger in the gold of his eyes. "And dismissing Selmy, where was the sense in that? Yes, the man was old, but the name of Barristan, the Bold, still has meaning in the realm. He lent honor to any man he served. Could anyone say the same of the Hound? You feed your dogs bones under the table. You do not seat him beside you on the high bench. He pointed a finger at Tyrion's face. If Cersei could not curb the boy, you must. And if these counselors are playing us false, Tyrion knew. Spikes he sighed. Heads, walls. I see you have taken a few lessons from me. And so Tyrion was acting hand until Tywin felt it was time to return to court. This quote also reveals Tywin's feelings about Joffrey's current small council. Jackanapes. Never heard that before Martin decided to use it to describe Peter, Pycelle, and Varys. He was right to distrust Littlefinger and the Spider, but Pycelle had been deeply loyal to Tywin for years, since the time Tywin and him served on the Mad King's small council. Tyrion killed it as acting hand. A sense of peace brokered with the Martells and Dorne by giving them Cersei's daughter and offering Prince Doran a seat on the small council as an advisor. He was ruthless when handling Cersei's idiocy, and even railed in Joffrey for a while. He went to work identifying how dangerous the Jackanapes were. Very few knew how deep Littlefinger's plots ran, except Varys and Tyrion. Tyrion even got a confession out of Grand Maester Pycelle for his continuous corruption over the years. Against Cersei's wishes, Tyrion had him thrown into a black cell, the worst of his crimes being allowing Lord Jon Arryn to die when treating his poisoning. He couldn't trust Varys, but kept him close as a sort of ally. Janos Slynt was next. His level of corruption was even worse than Pycelle. He was literally taking bribes, and it was barely a secret. Tyrion stripped him of his lands and titles and sent him packing to the wall. But the acting hand couldn't have his way forever. Tywin and the Tyrells saved the day during the Blackwater battle against Stannis outside of King's Landing. Both parties stuck around, changing the small council. Tywin bumped Tyrion out of the job. The Tyrells and the key nobles under them that hail from the Reach also had to be rewarded for their vital role in saving Joffrey's faction. This whole time, no one thought to have a master of ships, a vital role in times of war. Tywin gave that job to Mace Tyrell. It was the highest honor available at court, as undeserving and ill-suited for commanding the royal fleet Mace was. The Tyrell family also got a nice new castle with more land. Master of Laws went to Kevan Lannister, Tywin's little brother. Again, weird how that wasn't immediately filled, though the books don't mention when it actually happened. Just when the small council was fully formed and functioning, Peter Baelish left to marry Lysa Tully in the Vale. The man made a complex mess of loans for the crown, left the job without fixing it. Because of the dangerous combo of Robert's childish overspending and Littlefinger happily fighting some gold to bankrupt the crown, Master of Coin became the worst job at court. Tyrion was already hated just for being a dwarf, despite being a hero at Blackwater. Tywin giving him this position was almost a form of torture. Now people would hate him more if he had to raise taxes or any sort of fees. This makes 4 out of 7 seats occupied by Lannisters. From 0 to 4 in a year. They were just waiting to pounce. Doran accepted his see, despite never making the trip from Dorne to King's Landing, due to his physical health issues preventing him from walking. Any sort of movement would flare up his gout. So right before Joffrey's death, at his own wedding, Oberyn Martell took his brother's spot in his place. Though in one particular small council meeting, when Tywin was playing nice with the other nobles of the Reach, some extra faces randomly popped up and then never showed up to a small council meeting again. The others had to scramble for seats. Lord Mace Tyrell, a heavy robust man with curling brown hair and a spade-shaped beard well salted with white. Paxter Redwine of the Arbor, stoop-shouldered and thin, his bald head fringed by tufts of orange hair. Mathis Rowan, Lord of Golden Groove, clean-shaven, stout and sweating. The High Septon, a frail man with wispy white chin hair. Too many strange faces, Tyrion thought. Too many new players. Small council meetings are usually exclusive for members of the small council. Joffrey clearly needed all the help in the world to have Paxter Redwine, Mathis Rowan, and the High Septon helping him with decision-making. Aside from this special 3 guest star appearance, Joffrey's final crew looked like this, though he rarely showed up to meetings. Things don't get less chaotic when the throne is passed down to 8-year-old Tommen in the books, after Joffrey's death. Thanks for watching, guys.